Hey guys, this is going to be your respiratory system. So everyone should get out their notes that I gave you guys yesterday. If you were not here yesterday or if you left early, there's someone in the class that has your notes for you. So make sure you grab them and then just follow along. So your respiratory system is needed because it's what keeps you alive. You have to breathe to be able to live. So you got to take in the oxygen. Your gas that you take in is needed by all body cells. And it removes the carbon dioxide. And that's your gas that is a waste product produced by cells. You have a 4 to 6 minute supply of oxygen in your body at any given time. Your respiratory system must work continuously or death will occur. So, summary, you stop breathing, you die. The respiratory system consists of the nose, the pharynx, the larynx, the trachea, the bronchi, the alveoli, and the lungs. Your nose, you have two nostrils. They'll be referred to as nares, and they are the openings in which the air enters. The nasal septum is a partition or a wall that divides the nose into the hollow spaces. So it's what separates your nose into a right and a left half. Your nasal cavities are two hollow spaces that are lined with a mucous membrane. They are rich in blood supply. They warm the air as you breathe it in, and it also filters the air and moistens it. The moisture comes from the actual mucus that is lining the membranes. The filters, or whenever you're breathing in, dust particles and things like that will actually get caught in your nose hairs, and any kind of impurities will just go with the mucus straight down your throat to be digested. And also, that's what helps you sneeze to get out all the impurities. Your mucous membrane produces mucus. It traps the pathogens, which are your germs, and it also traps your dirt. The cilia are the tiny hair-like structures in the nasal cavity, so that's your nose hair. Traps dirt, traps pathogens. The trapped particles are pushed towards your esophagus and swallowed to be digested. I know, it's really, really gross. Your olfactory receptors are located in the nasal cavity, and they are your sense of smell. Your lacrimal ducts drain your tears from your eyes. It drains into the nose and provides additional moisture for the air. Your sinuses are the cavities that are inside of your skull. They are around the nasal area. They're connected to the nasal cavity by short ducts. Mucous membranes will warm and moisten the air. It also provides the resonance for your voice. So whenever you're stuffy or sick and those nasal cavities and the sinuses are blocked, that's why you sound so funny. Your pharynx is a fancy name for your throat. It's located behind the nasal cavities. Your air leaves your nose and enters the pharynx. You have three sections of the pharynx. You have the nasopharynx, the oropharynx, and the laryngopharynx. The nasopharynx is the upper portion located behind the nasal cavities. The pharyngeal tonsils are there. That's also where your adenoids are, and your adenoids are lymphatic tissues. Your ET tube openings are there. The oropharynx is the middle section located behind the oral cavity. It receives air and food from the mouth. And then the laryngopharynx is the bottom section of the pharynx. It branches off into the trachea, which carries air to and from the lungs, or the esophagus, which carries food to the stomach. Your larynx is your voice box. It's located between the pharynx and the trachea. You have a cartilage called an Adam's apple. Everyone has one. A male's is just more pronounced, and that's what you can see if you look at a man's throat. So everyone take this moment and look at Brandon and make him swallow, and you will see his Adam's apple bob. Your larynx also contains your vocal cords. And you guys won't have this actually on your notes. So just jot a little note down that says vocal cords equal 2 folds. And then the opening between the vocal cords is the glottis. Just write down this whole slide. Sorry, I thought I had it on there and I don't. So air enters the lungs, the vocal cords will actually vibrate and they produce a sound or a speech. So if you take your hand and you put it against your throat and you start talking, you actually feel your vocal cords vibrating. The epiglottis is a piece of cartilage. It's a leaf-like structure. It closes the opening into the larynx during swallowing to prevent food and liquids from entering the respiratory tract. So sometimes if you're eating or you're drinking something and you start to get a little strangled and everyone knows the saying, it went down the wrong pipe, that is actually from the epiglottis not closing correctly while you're eating. And that's what makes the food actually try to go down your trachea instead of your esophagus. There is a nifty little YouTube video for you to watch. If you feel like watching it, if you don't feel like watching it, you don't have to right now. I will actually put this PowerPoint without my voice on it on Google Class to where you can click it at a later link. Your trachea is also known as your windpipe. It's a tube that extends from the larynx to the center of the chest. It carries air between the pharynx and the bronchi. It is consisting of a series of C-shaped cartilage, which open on the dorsal surface. Remember, from your body directional terms and planes, dorsal meant towards the back, like a dorsal fin. So the C-shaped cartilage is closed in the front and open in the back. Your cartilage is also what helps keep your trachea open. The bronchi are 2 divisions of the trachea. They branch off near the center of the chest. The bronchus will enter the lung, carries the air and the trachea, and it attaches the trachea to the lungs. And then your lungs, let me hide that. The lungs, the bronchi divide into a smaller bronchi. So it comes down like one giant upside down tree. So you've got your main tree trunk from your trachea, and then your bronchus will branch out into thick, strong branches. And that's your 2 big, thick, strong branches. And then the bronchi are the little smaller branches. The smallest branches are bronchioles. At the end of the bronchioles, you have little sacs called alveoli. So your alveoli are air sacs. They resemble a bunch of grapes. They are one layer of squamous epithelium tissue. They are a rich network of blood capillaries. The capillaries allow oxygen and carbon dioxide to exchange between the lungs and the blood. On your notes, if you look where it says alveoli, go above it, under smallest branches, it says lungs. So I have these out of order, I'm sorry. But your lungs are organs. They're the division of the bronchi and the alveoli. The right lung has 3 sections or lobes. You have a superior, a middle, and an inferior. Your left lung has 2 lobes, a superior and inferior. The left lung is smaller because the heart lies more to the left side of the chest. All right, now we're back down underneath where it says alveoli on your notes. So we're at the pleura. The pleura is we will continue part 2 in just a second. The pleura is a membrane or a sac enclosing each lung. The thoracic cavity holds both lungs, the heart, and your major blood vessels. The process of respiration, you have 2 phases. You've got inspiration and expiration. Inspiration, you've got inhalation, the process of breathing in air, your diaphragm,